Week 16 predictions. But before we get into that, I want to give a special shout out to all of my channel members, especially because we've gotten a handful of new members recently, and some old members who have rejoined. So a special thank you to Isaiah Robeson, Jaeger, Bomb, Legend, Micah, Carter, Rhea, Vincent, Tremblay, James, Sucks, Tristan, Hoffman, Josh, Cameron, Noble, Bowles, Blunt, Too Heavy, Andrew, Peacock, Evan, Foot, Mr. Sean, Fitz, Rainy, Easterly, Ryan, Peters, and Andreas Anderson. Thank you so very much to all of my channel members. I appreciate all of you very, very much. Let's get into the Week 16 predictions, shall we? I'm not going to go game by game because I want to go to the big news story this week, the biggest potential factor this week, and we have a three-way tie for first place in the NFC between the Detroit Lions, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Minnesota Vikings. And all of these teams are playing away this week. The Detroit Lions are playing the Chicago Bears, the Philadelphia Eagles are playing the Washington Commanders, and the Minnesota Vikings are playing the Seattle Seahawks. And I think that's probably much to these teams' chagrin. I have a feeling all three of these teams are going to win. Detroit is extremely beat up on defense. I think their offense is mostly okay, with the exception of Montgomery. But the Chicago team, obviously we know all about them. The Commanders, although they have been good, I mean, this Eagles team is just on a different level right now. And honestly, the Seahawks might be a little bit having the wind taken out of their sails after that loss to the Green Bay Packers last week. Seems to have been quite disheartening. So I think that all three of these teams will win and continue to have a stranglehold. That's not the right term. A logjam at the top of the NFC, with no movement there in a real determining factor of who will be the top spot this week at the very least. Okay, now let's come back up. I think the Broncos will beat the Chargers. I want to have faith in the Chargers. I want to have faith in Justin Herbert. But I don't know, just something isn't working over there. And it just isn't good. Texans against the Chiefs. Now, I think that Patrick Mahomes will probably sit this one out. I know that he's still questionable. There's a lot of people who think he probably will end up playing this game because the Chiefs are trying to secure home field advantage. So if they drop this one, that could become a trickier task for them. But personally, I think that they will prioritize keeping Mahomes healthy long term. And if they had to play an extra game in the first round, they'll probably be pretty confident that they can win that game if they have to. I think the Texans will win this. Now I come to a game that has a little bit of not a snag, but what is the record? Let me make sure I can find it here. Baltimore has lost to Pittsburgh in the last 4 of Lamar Jackson's starts against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh beat Baltimore this year in week 11. But Pittsburgh is also coming off of a bad loss to the Eagles last week. Now you could say, Pittsburgh has beaten Lamar Jackson 4 games in a row. They'll do it again, and I am somewhat of that mind. But then eventually it's like, okay, well maybe after 4 attempts, like maybe the 5th one is, maybe it's like a super volcano or something, like you're just kind of waiting for it to erupt, and they're like, oh, it was supposed to erupt 100,000 years ago, but any day now, but eventually that day comes due. I don't know, but also Baltimore's kind of been hot and cold in my opinion. I'll take Baltimore, they'll be at home. The Browns have really been struggling, especially offensively, the last little while. Nick Chubb is out. He's not going to be playing this game. And the Bengals are now, I feel like they have a little bit of a confidence. They're in the playoff hunt, and I think they'll get the win here at home. Will Levis got benched last week in favor of Mason Rudolph. The downfall of Will Levis has honestly been insane. Like, he was looking like the most, like the best option out of that QB class last year. No, Stroud was. But he was looking better than Bryce Young. And he was looking, I don't know, I thought he had a decent season last year. But he's completely fallen off a cliff this season. They brought in Mason Rudolph. He wasn't much better. Now the Colts haven't been great either, but I think they could get a win here at home. I don't have to explain it. Buffalo will beat the Patriots here. You know what, I'm going to take the Raiders to win this. I don't think I've picked the Raiders to win a game in a very, very long time. But I think they could get a win here against the Jaguars. Interconference games, unfortunately, I think the Rams will win this one. Which is really, I think if the Rams win it and we lose it, I think Seattle is all but eliminated from the playoffs at that point. But I do think that's what's going to happen. And I think the Dolphins will beat the 49ers. So I'll put that there. And now we're left with the Giants against the Falcons. And the big news story here is obviously Michael Penix Jr. will be getting his very first career start. I mentioned this in my review video last week, but if you're gonna start a rookie QB and you want them to look good, so the fan base wants them to keep starting, the New York Giants are probably one of the best teams you can have them start against. Gives them a pretty good chance to succeed in that first start, maybe get a W. I could definitely see them getting a W here. So I'm going to pick the Falcons here. Michael Penix Jr. getting the win. Cardinals versus the Panthers. The Panthers' time finally being an underdog, or being a favorite for the first time in 2 years was short-lived. The Cardinals are a 4.5 point favorite at the moment I'm recording this. And I think they're very likely to win this game. The Cardinals have had a very good second half of their season. They continue to do better and better. Bucks versus Cowboys. I'll take the Cowboys right there. The Buccaneers right there, not the Cowboys. Oh, the Cowboys. I thought Cooper Rush. I thought that the Cowboys looked better last week than they had the last few. But the Buccaneers right now, they're weathering the storm. They're continuing to get wins and put up good performances despite some less than perfect circumstances surrounding the team at the moment, with injuries and such. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers there, and finally I'm going to take the Packers to beat the Saints again. This is not good news for me as a Seahawks fan, but this is just, I think, is the most likely to happen. I could theoretically see the Jets getting the win here, because it feels like ever since they've been eliminated from the playoffs, they've been playing better for some reason. It's kind of weird. But I do just have a feeling that Los Angeles will win this one here. So I'm my final predictions here for week 16. The Broncos, the Texans, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Colts, the Bills, the Raiders. Then in our conference I have the Rams and the Dolphins, and in the NFC I have the Lions, the Falcons, the Eagles, the Cardinals, the Vikings, the Buccaneers, and the Packers. Again, not resolving our log jam here at all. The Lions, the Vikings, and the Eagles all going in to next week, still tied for first in the NFC. All right there at that same record. Anyway, guys, thank you so very much for watching. Thank you again to my channel members. I hope you're all having a great holiday season. And until next time, guys.